Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Today's video is Erik ten Hag's new front three. What is his front three going to be after the January transfer window, and who would be our front three if we get the reinforcement in that we think that we're going to get? And we've got Charlie here to discuss it. Cody Gakpo to Manchester United looks like it's definitely on the cards after this World Cup. So he could definitely be coming in January. Also reports of Depay coming in as well. So we'll bring him into the conversation. But Charlie, Cody Gakpo, first of all, a good signing for Erik ten Hag. Does it improve Erik ten Hag's current front three if he comes in? Yeah,
100%. Obviously, with the departure of Ronaldo, we're definitely in need of another attacking option, even with the bolstering of Antony coming in as well. It'll be a great addition. It's obviously good. Erik ten Hag needs to be backed and needs to be trusted, especially with the signings that have been brought in have all worked so far, touch wood. So yeah, it'd be nice to see him be backed again, and hopefully, he bags goals, gets assists like he's been doing for PSV.
Yeah, I mean, Cody Gakpo, a really, really good player, 23 years old, playing at PSV, 3 goals in 3 in the World Cup so far for the Netherlands, carrying the Netherlands on his back, some would say.
Yeah.
Man of the match performances this season as well. Last season he was brilliant. This season, most goal contributions in Europe. I mean, progressive runs, nearly 3 per game, so something Erik ten Hag would absolutely love because that's really high when we're looking at other different strikers. He also has 17 goals and 14 assists this season.
Crazy.
It is the Dutch league, and you can take that into consideration, but then them numbers are still absolutely
even
crazy.
For that league, yeah.
And his goal conversion, 22.7, so he's converting a lot of his chances, more than a lot of other strikers we've looked at as well. And his XG per 90 is 0.38. So his goal conversions compared to his XG is he's basically getting more goals than what he's expected to be getting, which again is good because it shows that he's been very, very clinical. So all in all, a good striker. Also seen him scored a brilliant header in the World Cup. We know he can score headed goals. Has been playing off the left, but it's touted that he's going to move into more of a number 9 role. With Erik ten Hag, with him at United, Charlie, where do you expect to see Cody Gakpo play?
I actually some part of me doesn't think that he'd come in and start straight away. Well, again, it depends a lot on Martial. If Martial,
depends how much you pay for him as well.
Well, that also, but I do think that Martial has been backed as ten Hag's number 9, and a lot of obviously talk has been going on with why Ronaldo wasn't playing in certain instances, even Rashford playing up front. So I do wonder what role he'd come in and play instantly, whether he would want to play him, whether it is off the left to start with and then gradually move his way in. I'm not too sure, but either way, wherever he plays, it's definitely a reinforcement.
And it is one of them because if you play him off the left, then Rashford's going to be dropped, which you would assume is not going to happen, especially after the World Cup he's having and how much you see Erik ten Hag likes him. Martial, if he's fit after the World Cup, you would expect him to be starting. So it's going to be interesting to see how it happens, comparing Gakpo to the likes of Martial and Rashford, because we've got their stats up as well. Obviously, Martial has 4 goals and 2 assists, but he's not played near as many minutes. Actually, let's put it into perspective here. Martial's played 315 minutes compared to Rashford's 1,647 and Gakpo's 2,512.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Martial's he's doing well considering the amount of minutes he's played, but injury is a red flag. Gakpo's seems to be, touch wood, not very injury prone, whereas that's completely different to Martial. Progressive runs from Martial, 0.29, Rashford 2.3. So Rashford and Gakpo's actually even beating Rashford to progressive runs, which is unexpected, but again, it's a positive. And goal conversion, this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, Gakpo has a 22.7 goal conversion, very, very good. And Martial has 57.1, but again, not played many minutes, and he's scoring every chance he's getting, Martial, it seems like, at the moment. But Rashford, for his goal conversion, is 17.46.
Well, it's a bit, 17.46% in terms of the amount of chances that he does have. I think if you actually, I'm not sure if you'll have it, but if you looked at his XG in terms of, you actually think of the sitters and stuff that he has missed, he should be on double figures already, double figures, double figures, do you know what I mean? Which is, I guess you can take a positive from it and say he's having those opportunities. He just needs to maybe make better use of it. But no, I mean he's been probably one of our one of our better players this season. So yeah,
that's what I mean about Rashford. Like, if Rashford would actually score the chances he was getting, like the majority of him, he'd be top goal scorer. It seems like he gets so many chances, and he does miss some sitters. So that's something that needs to be improved. But again, I would bring that in as an argument as it shows Rashford's more of a left winger than an actual striker.
Yeah.
Whereas Martial and Gakpo, I think, can be more of the number 9 type player for Manchester United. I think Rashford should be playing off the left as a left-sided forward. So for me, it kind of rules Rashford out of the number 9 role. But obviously we can always use him if we're desperate to, because we know he can play there.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, Charlie, Depay coming up in conversation as a return to Old Trafford. Firstly, would you want Depay to come back? That's an already straight up no. Secondly, I've seen him actually kind of saying, he wasn't slagging off, but I think there was a bit of jealousy coming through of how good Gakpo's doing for the Netherlands at the moment. He's had his injuries to Depay, which is why he's not playing, but he said him and Gakpo link up well, but he much prefers to play with, well, not much, he said he prefers to play with Bergwijn because he holds up the ball and finds him better, and he thinks that's why Gakpo's
being selfish.
That's why Gakpo's being successful at the moment.
I mean, I do understand that, because obviously you do want to play with the player that almost benefits and suits you more naturally, I guess. But again, it's a team game. Gakpo has scored 3 goals in 3 games, as you said. I'm sure he'll score more in the round of 16 against USA as well, or be the guy that you'd expect to at least. In terms of Depay coming to United, no, it's a no, not because I don't think he's good enough. I do think he would add something if he was to come in, but again, it's just going back with someone that didn't work out before, and I just don't want to entertain it. I just think there's options out there we don't need to.
With Depay, I just think it's such a lacklustre sign if we got him. I mean, we know what he can do. We know he definitely adds depth, but I think that's all he adds, depth. I don't think he comes in and demands a starting position.
No.
So
he might think so, but no.
Also, Gakpo's younger. He's got more potential ahead of him. I think leave that in the past with Depay and hopefully focus on Gakpo. But Charlie, what we're going to do now, we've got the whiteboards out again.
Yeah.
And we're going to do, if Manchester United did sign Cody Gakpo, what would your front 3 be in at the end of January transfer window? If we have Gakpo in with everyone we've already got, who would be your starting?
So say it's like his first game available. Well, the front 3 you're going with, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, it's tough. He's actually so tough. And also, I'm going to be interested to see who you put left and right here. You're going to actually hate me. Oh.
Might upset some people.
I'm going to upset people right now.
Maybe we're going with the same thing. Yeah, same.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that is disappointing, isn't it?
It is. But do you know what? I honestly think I don't, because he's obviously playing majority of the time as this left winger. Yeah. It's hard to put him in as that number 9. It's hard to put him in as the number 9, I'll be honest. He's not gonna go on the right over Anthony. And I just can't see him going in on the left over Rashford.
Do you know what I think happens with Gakpo? And this is not... By the way, if someone's not starting the first game, doesn't mean they're not going to be a star player at United. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think he can come in and demand a starting place. But the reason we've gone with it, and if people couldn't see it properly, because my handwriting's not the best on there, is Rashford on the left, same as Charlie's, Martial up front and Anthony on the right there. So Sancho missing out as well, which is interesting. But the reason I've gone with Martial down the middle instead of Gakpo is because of how good Martial has been when he's played this season. Yeah. His link up with Rashford's been great. His link up with Bruno's been great. His overall team play's been good. And I think it's unfair to drop someone out of the team when, for me, they've done the maximum they really can when they've played on the pitch.
I honestly think that would be the straw that broke the camel's back as well. If Gakpo comes in and immediately starts over Martial, if Martial's fully fit and firing, I think that's then Martial would want
his
out
confidence
completely.
Is gone as well.
But, you know, he's kind of aired his differences in the sense that, you know, when Zlatan came in and losing shirt numbers, etc., and not having, you know, the rub of the green, and I think that would be the final, like, he would want out fully then, I do think, which I guess would be fair enough, right? Because he's done well in the chances he's had so far.
That's the thing. If Martial was playing games and not being good, of course you put Gakpo in, but every time he has played, he's looked really good, he's looked threatening, he's been a good team player. So I think Erik ten Hag, by the way, would keep him in. I think he would. But what I think would happen, and this is why squad depth is such a massive thing, I think what would happen is Martial would potentially get injured. or we just need to switch things around. And then what can happen is it gives space for Gakpo to get a chance. And this is why we were speaking previously, and then Gakpo for me would move into the middle. I'd want to play him as a striker under Eric Ten Hag. Would you want to play him as a striker?
That's where we'd want him to play eventually, so yeah, I guess.
So I think Gakpo as well, a young lad coming in from PSV, I think throwing him straight in and asking for him to be United's main goal scorer at number 9 is
a big ask.
It's a big ask anyway in the Premier League, like the best league in the world. So what he gives, if Martial has injuries or you want to protect him or you want to rest him, Martial's had a good game, bring him off 70th minute, Gakpo comes on, get some chances, midweek games. We've got so many games coming up for Manchester United. It's so important that we have players covered in each position. I think Martial would be happy with that, and I think Gakpo coming into a new team would also be happy with that. I mean, he was linked to Southampton and Leeds in the summer. Like, coming into Manchester United and sharing that role with Martial, I think he would be happy with initially.
I think as much as we're obviously begging for a number 9, I do think that Ten Hag likes fluidity in the sense of if he was to go with this version, that it can interchange and Rashford can go here, Gakpo can move in. And
we've seen Anthony play on the left even as well for Brazil. So
there's a lot of
options. It can all change round 100%.
Yeah.
And this is why as well we were discussing number 9s. And of course in the summer it'd be great to look at maybe an Osimhen or a Harry Kane, but for something that's going to keep this team happy, the squad happy, and something that I think is going to work from January, I think having the options of Gakpo, Rashford, Anthony, Martial, Sancho. I mean, it's a brilliant place to be in, I think.
Yeah, again, it's good options and it's what you need. The overall thing is options and squad depth, because we're playing literally 3 games a week again straight away. As soon as this World Cup's finished, it's back straight away. No break. We're playing Burnley, aren't we? In the 21st of December, is it? And then it's just going to be manic straight after Christmas again.
And you've seen what's happened as well with the likes of Luke Shaw and having Malacia in. When you have competition for places, players perform to a higher level because you don't want to lose their place. Like, you see Martial on his toes, knowing Gakpo's on the bench. When Gakpo gets a chance, he knows he has to impress to get his place in the starting 11. Even Rashford's thinking, Gakpo can come on the left here. I mean, this guy's had a really good World Cup. I need to keep my game up. So I think, because Rashford, we know he's prone to them spells where he's on fire at the moment, but we know he's prone to go through them spells where he's in a bit of, he's in ghost mode. So it keeps the pressure on, and it means that we get the best performances out of all these players. So I'm glad we agreed on that, actually. And get in the comments down below what you think. Who would be your starting front 3 with Gakpo? Would you even want a Depay in there? Like, let me know in the comments. But one player I did want to move on to is a player we've not even kind of brought into consideration for this front 3 that cost Manchester United 73 million. And
Sancho.
It is Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
I mean, with Gakpo coming in, another player that's very versatile. And Ten Hag's come out and said Sancho said he prefers to play on the left. I think for me that completely rules Sancho out of the left-hand side, because it's going to be either Gakpo, Rashford, even Martial can play off the left. I don't think Sancho's getting in on the left. Does Sancho kind of have to be that second player to Anthony and hope for a chance on the right-hand side?
I'm hoping and praying that this break that he's having, or obviously he's training still, but this game break that he's having where there's no pressure is doing him the world of good, because I try and sing Sancho's praises whenever I can, in sense of his technical ability is second to none, one of the best in the team, I'd say. It's just proving it on that pitch, and yes, he had a good start to the season scoring goals.
I do think we've seen the best of him on the right.
Yeah, I just think he's very much a confidence player, whether there's issues or stuff going on kind of behind the scenes that we're not aware of. There's always that possibility to consider. But for me, I do think he could add such a huge amount to this team when he's firing. I really do think.
I actually agree with you there. A lot of people have already written off Sancho. I mean, we talk about how young Gakpo is. Sancho's younger than Gakpo. He's 22. He's still a young player, which people forget about because it feels like he's been around for ages. His stats in the Bundesliga, we talked about Cody Gakpo's stats being in the Dutch league, how even though it's the Dutch league, you still have to give him the praises. Sancho's stats in the Bundesliga were absolutely off the scale. They were Ballon d'Or kind of stats. And yes, you can say it's the Bundesliga, but still, it was very, very impressive. So I think, again, I've said Sancho, I think is going to work best off when Martial is in the team, who he's not really had much chance to play with, apart from in that Liverpool game, where I think they linked up pretty well. So I think we saw in pre-season him and Martial having that relationship. I think off the right as well, he suits him a lot better because we know his dribbling abilities. I want him to take on players, but we know that he's getting coached right now by coaches recommended by Erik ten Hag. And I think for the people writing Jadon Sancho off, I think you should wait and see, because this player is still seriously young, and I still think such a talent there. We've seen Rashford go through bad spells, we've seen Martial go through bad spells, but we know that there's a good player there. I think that's the same situation right now with Jadon Sancho. And I mean, if he comes back firing after this World Cup, which I definitely think we can see happen, a fresh start. Rashford's on fire at the World Cup. Gakpo's been on fire at the World Cup if we get him. Anthony, we just know his confidence, and he's a player as well. This could be a really, really good thing for Manchester United. You have all these players kind of fighting it out for positions, and all very, very technically gifted and talented players. So Sancho is still definitely going to have a future at United, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say there would have been definitely a conversation there between Ten Hag and Sancho as to what the plans are for the rest of the season and his future. And yeah, hopefully everything would have kind of cleared the air, I guess, in terms of why he needs to go away and improve and get this coaching. And it's good to see that he has taken the recommendations on board and that he is training with the coaches that he has recommended. So yeah, I'm hoping and praying that he brings back the Jadon Sancho that we signed.
Yeah, exactly. And he had that fire in his belly as well from not in the England squad, working hard. I think the only way up is up for Sancho. And Erik ten Hag definitely likes him because he was picking him at the start of the season, but then obviously he just completely went weird around Sancho. But hopefully he can come back and start firing. But we'll see what Erik ten Hag's front three will be at the end of the January transfer window. Will we get Gakpo? Will it be a different player? Should we get a different player? Do you think we'll sign anyone? Let us know in the comments down below. And also, out of them options as well, let us know your front three. If Erik ten Hag managed to sign Gakpo, would you chuck him straight in? Would you stick with Martial? Get in the comments down below what you guys think. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Charlie, for being here. And we will see you on the next one.